All right. Hello, Ms. Segalini. Thank you so much for taking the time to let me interview you today. The topic of our discussion today is just going to be wealth and happiness and how wealth affects happiness. Now, just to start, there are no right or wrong answers, just based on your experiences and your opinions. Now, the first question obviously has to be, how would you define happiness?
Hmm, that's a tough one. Based on experience, life experience, and based on what I see from people around me, I would say that happiness is when you have achieved a particular inner peace that no material or another person can provide you, where you feel that you know yourself so well at many levels, and that you feel connected with whatever it is that you believe in, call it God or whatever we choose to call it, but it's just having that inner peace.
So you believe that happiness stems not from outside factors, but rather internally, that happiness is entirely within your hands.
I definitely think so. I definitely think so. When I was younger, of course, I thought, well, it's all about getting an awesome job so I can get money and I can have a big house and I can have the latest car or the latest phone out there. But no, the more time goes by, I think it's just what you bring to the table. Like I need to find myself in order to find that happiness. And I can only provide that to myself so that then I can provide it to those around me.
Okay. So do you believe, if you do believe, what extent does wealth, an increase in wealth, lead to an increase in happiness?
Huh. Material can come and go. It's not something that will stay with you, and it can't fulfill what it is that we're looking for in our life. We're looking for the reason why we're here. What is the reason that whatever we want to call it brought me here? So I don't think it has anything to do with the material. It has to do with your internal. And then on top of that, what do you see in other people?
Okay, so
So
you
if I'm being kind to myself, then I can be kind to you as a former student. So I think it's just more valuable to have it set up or to think about it in terms of happiness is something that comes from within a person.
do you think it's necessary in any point of your life to sacrifice personal happiness in order to gain more wealth?
Wow, this is going to be very, very personal.
Oh, if you don't
um,
share anything that you don't feel,
oh no, 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 no.
uh,
What I mean is by experience, I can tell you that you should never sacrifice your person, your own happiness because of wealth. Um, that's what society tries to tell us, that the more that you sacrifice, etc., the happier you're going to be, right? But I think that one has to put into perspective that the material stuff, as I mentioned before, it comes and goes, but your your persona, your inner peace, your true happiness, that should not be sacrificed unless it's because of your children or your significant other, but not because of something that can go like that.
So since you mentioned children, you'd say you would sacrifice your own happiness to ensure that your children had a better way of living?
Absolutely.
So you think that's an acceptable case of sacrificing happiness for wealth, in a way?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
This is a bit of a question. Do you think wealth brings more happiness to people in high income countries or those in low income countries?
I want to say then high income countries. When I was growing up in Puerto Rico, I didn't know that we were that poor, to be honest with you. My parents never made it look like we were missing out because we focus on the love and the unity within the family. So I never felt like I was missing out on getting expensive clothing or getting expensive toys or anything like that. It wasn't until I moved to New York City after graduating from college that I realized, how did my parents did everything for us? Because we were very poor. So that's when I realized, or I started to think that we didn't have everything, but in a way we were happy.
Okay.
And then when I moved here is when I started to want more because I didn't have it when I was growing up.
So you'd say that shifting from I don't want to say low income, but low income country to a relatively higher standard of living, that's what kind of shifted your perspective about, oh, maybe money, would you say it became more necessary or made you happier to have money?
I thought it did.
You thought it did.
I thought that it made me, because I was in as you know, in IT before I went into education. So every year when you would get a bonus of $10,000 or $15,000, that was good. You know what I mean?
I
And
definitely understand.
you're so you're so deep into that that you don't realize, is that more important? Because that took me away from my kids. So was it better, or would it been better for me to just have a different style of work, still fulfilling my own academic aspirations and intellectually continue to stay stimulated, but not impacting the family?
Speaking about aspirations, do you think that acquiring too much wealth can lead to a sort of boredom or a lack of purpose in life?
I think it depends on the person, because if you do gather enough money that then you can help others, then you're fulfilling not just a need to help others, but it will make you feel better.
So you'd say that once you reach a certain point in financially, you'd be able to more or less focus on others rather than yourself. And that could be
I think so. I think so. If you have the right value system, and I'm talking about morals, etc., I think you can basically say, okay, I have enough to live a comfortable life, but now I can help others.
speaking about morals, Right here, I have a question that says, do you think that the relationship between wealth and happiness varies between demographics, countries, cultures, and religions?
I would think so. I would think so. Again, it all depends on your upbringing. It depends on how you value life, on how you value your country, and what you think you can do in order to improve.
So you think that some people um, value improvement rather than wealth?
I would like to think so.
If you had,
I'm still idiot. I still think ideally how it should be in the world, but then the other part of me, the cynical part, would say,
so you really just don't believe in wealth bringing happiness at all?
I don't.
Um,
I don't.
Unique answer. All right. Do you think that the pursuit of wealth actually can lead to an increase in stress and can actually become a source of unhappiness?
These are great questions, actually.
I
So
tried very
thank
hard.
you. These are very good questions. But I go back to life experience. I've seen so many people that have achieved a very well, I don't want to say healthy lifestyle, but um they have been able to get to the point where they earn very good money and they can live in a very comfortable way, but they're not happy. They're still looking for what else can they do. So we're not looking for that inner self and how can I make my inner self feel fulfilled, happy, because I'm still looking for material. And that's not going to do anything to make you feel like you have found your purpose.
Yeah. How do you think that the distribution of wealth in a society impacts the relationship between wealth and happiness in that population?
Well, we see the fact that a very small percentage has a very high income, so very high wealth. And then we have a very high percentage of people that are not at that level, may probably never be at that level. And they struggle on a day-to-day basis because for them, having a little bit of more money means they're going to be happy, where that's not the reality. But I also see that happening a lot more in the big cities versus the small towns or the rural areas where they work hard for everything, but in a different way. They're in agriculture, they're with animals, they're farmers, etc. So their perception of wealth is completely different than mine, probably. Where for me is, again, I'm at that point in life where it's not the money, it's what can I bring to the table with friends, with family, etc. Because that's where I should be focusing on and not how much I used to do, how much I do now. And we joke about it, right? But I think when you start being realistic and you see the disparity when it comes to wealth, etc., I think we should focus on other things.
Do you believe that that disparity may be like fueling the need for more wealth?
I think so. I think we still continue to think that the more money that we can earn, that we can get, the better off we're going to be. Because how come this person was able to achieve that, but the rest of us can't? And I think that's why we go and we spend so much money even on lottery. And more when the lottery is in the hundreds of millions, and here we go spending more money because we're going to be the lucky one.
Do you believe there are any negative psychological or social effects of having a high level of wealth?
Hmm. I don't know. I honestly don't know. They would probably think that they're fine, but I don't know if they're happy. I don't know if they've been able to fulfill what they want from life.
So in that case, do you think that having earned your wealth or having inherited your wealth would be a better source of happiness?
You need to earn it.
You
You
need to
need to
earn it.
work for it. Mhm.
So if I offered you 100 million right now,
No, I have to earn it.
all right.
I have to earn it because that was the work ethic and the value system that my parents gave me. That if you want something, you have to work for it and you appreciate it more. Like I remember the first time that I bought a car, that I was able to put in that down payment and nobody had to help me. And I was only 23. And I thought that was the biggest accomplishment I ever had because I worked for that. And I think when you work hard for something, you value it, right? You appreciate it. Than when somebody just gives you 100 million. Now, if I win the lotto, okay, I'll take it.
Okay. So would you say that moment brought you happiness of buying that first car
It was momentarily because
momentarily?
once you have to continue to pay for it every month, and then the car insurance, because it was a little sporty type of car for a 23-year-old, not good.
So you'd say that that momentary purchase, despite being an accomplishment for yourself, only led to a momentary feeling of happiness.
Exactly.
So it wasn't lasting.
No, it didn't last.
Making.
It didn't last. It felt good at the moment because I was with my dad and he didn't have to help me. So that was, I think, what really got me happy or accomplished, feeling accomplished, because my dad was able to see that based on his sacrifices, I was able to earn a degree and then I was able to get a good job and I was getting well paid. But then the feeling just goes away. It doesn't stay with you.
Since you believe that happiness comes inside, what would be your advice to someone who still believes that happiness can be achieved purely through the pursuit of wealth?
They, if they have really been able to achieve that understanding of themselves, and they think that that is what truly makes them happy, then I celebrate that for them and I validate that for them.
What does it exactly mean to understand oneself?
I think it's the combination of self-confidence, knowing your abilities on how to succeed. How do you face the obstacles? How do you get up if you fall down? And I don't mean it literally speaking,
Yeah.
but if you encounter a lot of obstacles, etc., how do you face that? Do you just get up and keep going? Where's your self-motivation? Do you like to work hard for your own things and not take credit away from anybody that is not your own? The integrity part, for me, that's big and it's very important. So it's all those things that for a lot of people in today's society, they don't think it's important. It's not part of their value system. But for me it's what has become more and more important to achieve.
Would you say that our current society, maybe because you mentioned how knowing oneself means that you know how you succeed, know how you get up. Would you think that people nowadays in our society have the belief that money is that way? Like money is the way to success and that money is how they get up?
Yes, I see that. I see that not just in young people, but I see it on people of different age groups where they just think that they should get things just because they want them, and they don't have that thought process of, let me set up goals. How can I work from one goal to the next? Instead, they just want the quick fix. And we see it in a lot of the current applications and everything where, nowadays anybody can be famous just because they upload a video. But did they really work hard for that? And what is success?
That's an interesting question. What is success? If you had to define what success was, what would you define it as?
I just want to be a better person.
Better person.
And I will know that I have succeeded if I'm able to be around people and people would want to be around me because we can grow together. I can learn from other people. They can learn from me. Two-way street, that's
Don't
what I
worry.
see.
I love being around you, Miss Segalini.
Thank you. I love being around you.
Oh, like or being happy. Um, I think that was pretty much it. Is there anything you'd like to add? Any comments, concerns, or anything you'd like to clarify?
You really made me think. And that's what I mean about intellectually being stimulated and not just stay status quo. So I thank you for the wonderful questions
Thank you so much.
because it really made me think, and it made me value even more our friendship because we're able to get to know each other in a whole different, I don't know, a whole different level.
I definitely think deep conversation is important to any relationship.
Yes, it was an awesome experience and I thank you for it.
Thank you.